We're live. What's up, Facebook? What's up, LinkedIn? What is up, YouTube? And what's up, Twitter? All right. First of all, so as you can see from the title, we're talking about deal makers and deal fakers. And so, what better way to start this video off than with our own deal? So, over here on the H Chapman channel, we like to do deals. So we make a deal right off the bat, even within the video, because we're folks that value our time. Our time is very, very valuable. We're not just out here giving it out frivolously. Since we value our time, once we see a video that's worth taking the time for us to click on that video, we're going to take the time to go ahead and like it as well. So that's our deal. If you're going to watch the video, that's all I ask for. We make a little deal together that you're going to go ahead and like that thing. And I got to give a shout out to this guy, Kevin Nations. What is up? It's been way too long. If you're not following Kevin, you should be. Man, he's just been a monster in everything, making money for years and years and years. I don't want to make you sound old, but we've been out here for a long time, man. Out in Vegas, just doing some really, really amazing things. I think a lot of our philosophies are really the same. We've never been those guys who are like, oh, let me get as famous as possible. It's like, no, let me get out here and do deals and make some money. Thanks for popping in, Kevin. Jay, what's up? I also got to give a shout out to some of the new Patreoners. We got some new patronies. If you're not in the Patreon community, you got to come in there. We got hundreds of videos. Training's been added all the time, getting behind the scenes. I think it's one of the cooler ways just to get a cross section of a lot of things that are going on. So, we share some of what we're training when it comes to the private equity fund incubator. We're helping some people start solo funds. So you get a little taste. It's like, just going to the buffet, but it's not Golden Corral buffet. It's not Golden Corral, but it's more like Fogo de Chao. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to get up. We're just gonna bring the meat around to you, and you pick. What do you want? You're in the mood for some chicken. You're in the mood for some lamb. Like, how are you feeling? And we're gonna fill your plate up. You're gonna have to turn the little card over to red because we're just gonna keep giving it to you. We just had an amazing training with the Patreon community on using some of the strategies to become a merger consultant to businesses. That was a lot of fun. Had a really great group on for that. And we just added that first part of the training to the Patreon. So as soon as you join, you get that. But I want to welcome some of the new folks. I hadn't done that. I stopped doing that. So I got to start by doing that. Welcome, AD. I don't have your full name, but glad to have you. Ernesto is now in. Ernesto Bent, really glad to see you. Ernesto was in our Dealmakers Institute program years ago, out there doing this thing. Victor Rogers, Matthew Riggs, who is also in the Acquisition Holding Company program. Dennis Aqua, I like that name. It reminds me of J.B. Fuqua, who's one of my favorite deal makers in history. He is the endowment for Duke's Business School. But, again, kind of like when I'm giving Kevin a shout out, just like a deal maker, you know what I mean? Just a wheeler dealer, just making deals, really doing business. So shout out to you, Dennis. Fred Hopkins just joined. Ty Agger just joined. So welcome to all the Patreon folks. Hope y'all are enjoying some of those things. But yeah, I think that is kind of an intro to a lot of different things. And I think one of the reasons that even people that are in one program will be in the Patreon, number one, is because it's freaking cheap. This is one of the least expensive ways that you're going to get access to. There are people that are charging tens of thousands of dollars for some of this stuff, and a $25 a month thing. You get my infinite returns book after a month of membership. and we send that to you physical. Um, but yeah, one of the reasons that people end up joining there is that even if you're in one thing, you get to get kind of behind the scenes on some of the other programs. So, we have the Good Merger brokerage. And so getting, pieces of the training that I give to our merger specialist, I was talking about PEFI, the solo fund program, the acquisition holding company. So you get a little bit of all of these things. And yeah, that's something to definitely check out. Now let's talk about this deal makers versus deal fakers. Also, happy Easter. Hope everyone is kind of a chill day. I'm relaxing. I'm full. I had some good food. It's like, you know what? Let me jump on with my people, see what everybody's up to. Before I get into it, I'll take a look at Jay's question. Jay asks, what experience in finance do you look for in order to join the training? Well, it does depend which training you're talking about. For some of the other, yeah, like we have some things where there's no requirement, especially with finance. Obviously with Patreon, that's a great way just to get in and kind of learn different things. With the only one where we're looking for so we're looking at your experience and making a decision there is with Good Merger. So if you're becoming a merger specialist, we're trying to figure out. So it might be finance. It might be, we have one guy who his background was real estate, which is really valuable. So it just, we're looking at, okay, what's going to be your angle? Because we kind of have 5 different paths for those merger specialists. And we're able to we need to be able to send you down one of those paths. So based on your experience, if we can't see you down any of those paths, then we say no. And then if you're just not a cultural, as some folks have found out, I'll send you to something else. You know what I mean? If it's not a cultural fit. And, we have an amazing, amazing group of folks that are all motivated. And so the culture, and Andrew has to spends more time with those folks individually. And so it's important that he likes the person. It's not even just my decision. He has to like the person and want to work with them as well. So that's probably the most strenuous. And then I guess after that might be PEFI, but I don't have anything where it's just, hey, here is this page, the sales letter page, and then you click this link and then you pay money, because that's not my goal. My goal with any of these things is, hey, how do we get you to the point where you're doing deals? Because guess what? I want you to be a deal maker and not a deal faker. So that brings us back to this, and I will feel free to put the questions in and definitely say hello as you come in, or happy Easter. And I'll get to some of those at the end. So one of the toughest things when you're getting started as a deal maker is you really do have to fake it until you make it, because you haven't done a deal yet, but people expect you to kind of know what you're doing. And that is one of the reasons that education is important. Now, there are some people out there that take advantage on the education. It's just like, okay, I'm just going to charge an outrageous amount on the education because I'm really not doing any deals. Those people would be considered deal fakers because they're just training instead of actively doing deals. And if you're really doing deals, like, you understand that education and info stuff at best is just a side thing. If somebody's spending a ton of time on that, it's a bit like, okay, if you're really good at doing deals, why would you spend that much time over here? But the other part is just the newbie. What about the newbie that doesn't want to get labeled a deal faker, as they're just trying to do deals? And here's the place where it happens, and a technique to avoid it. The place where it happens is when you're dealing with business brokers. Now, obviously, I own a brokerage. I work with other brokerages. I have a lot of relationships in that space. And then as a client, I've done a couple hundred deals, and a lot of those have been with other brokers. And the big key when you're starting off is brokers don't want to waste their time. And so the problem is that there are a lot of people that are newbies, and it's immediate that the broker just can tell, oh, this person doesn't know what they're doing. And they kind of push them to the side. And I get people that reach out to me all the time, and they're basically saying, "Hey, I'm calling these brokers, and they're either just not calling me back. I talk to them, and they're asking me. They want to see all my financials. They want to see my bank statements. All of this stuff that the broker's asking for. And the reason is simple: the broker isn't trying to waste their time, but more importantly, what they're trying to do is protect their client, because the broker really, those contracts that they have with a client are kind of mean nothing. And we see it within our brokerage as well. Like if somebody wants to pull out of a agreement to sell their business, a listing agreement, they can. Like you can't force somebody to sell their business. So you have this contract, but the client kind of knows from the beginning, hey, if this person can't make me sell my business just because I listed it with them. And since the broker understands that, they don't want to take the chance of putting some novice in front of their client that they consider to be a deal faker and isn't going to be able to really do a deal. Because if that client picks up that scent, then it reflects back on the broker. And so I understand, because a lot of people get frustrated. They're like, man, like these brokers just don't want to deal with me. And then the other thing that happens, what's happening right now is it's just a lot of people doing fake business because this whole thing sounds exciting, buying and selling businesses. So you have all of the folks that are really pushing it as this cool and exciting and fun thing, as opposed to just like, no, well, the goal is like to close a deal and to do the work and to grow it and to exit and to make money. And so when you've got a lot of people that are, promoting this concept as kind of this fun thing and doing it to hundreds of thousands of people, the what happens is those people don't really end up as competition. It's really great. Like you see no change in the number of deals. It's really interesting as you see like more and more people promoting the concept. Really, I look at the number of deals closed and it's not changing. If anything, like especially right now, it's going down. So like they're making more and more money off of seminars and making more money off of kind of promoting the idea of this, but fewer deals are getting done. And it's like more people than I've ever seen, talking online about buying and selling businesses. So why is that? How can that, I've been doing this for 20 years. It's gone from nobody at all talking about it to hundreds of thousands, even millions of people. You combine kind of the gurus that are in the space. Then you've got hundreds of thousands of people, but no more deals getting done. And the reason is because there's just a lot of people that are on the front end doing the work, but not getting any deals closed. And so they're doing fake work. They're doing fake business and fake work. And all they're doing is annoying the brokers because they don't really know how to close a deal. But they're interested. They sound, oh man, I'm gonna buy a business. Everybody puts it in there. Somebody goes and hears one podcast, and then they change their LinkedIn bio to buying boring businesses, just this whole thing. And what ends up happening is you have all of these people, and the lowest hanging fruit is the businesses that are just on biz by sell and all these kinds of things. And I talk to brokers now, just like, yo, like I'm just not gonna put my businesses on there. It's just too many people that are just time wasters and don't, if I put them on a call with my client, they don't know how to talk to them. If I put them on a call with a client, my client's having to coach them through how to buy a business. They don't know how to do due diligence. So we get to due diligence, and then I'm having to coach them, and they're never going to be comfortable because they don't really, at the end of the day, know. They may have heard about something, but there's nobody that they trust around them that's really gotten them through the process. I'm, at the end of the day, representing the seller. So they, even if they do trust me, they really shouldn't. And so the whole thing ends up being a waste of time. And so what's happening now is fewer and fewer deals are actually getting listed. I'm getting more calls than ever before. And here's the really great thing. If you're on the other end of this, if you really are kind of around actual deal makers and you're really getting deals done, you're happy they can guide you through the process, and you can work with folks and build relationships with brokers, you can get deals that will never be listed. Now, on the other hand, we've got deals that we do list. And in a lot of cases, we're bringing real buyers. And so those deals that are real deals will get bid up really high. So what ends up happening, though, is you either get the bottom, if you're going on the market, then you end up with the bottom barrel deal, or you end up in a situation where you can build a relationship with that broker, and you'll get the deals before they go to market. So it's great for those folks that have the relationships, because now more than ever, I'm getting more people that they want to close with somebody and not have to go to market, because the market is flooded with fake deal makers. So it's not that it's affecting the business. Like, it's really interesting. I was talking to one of my partners in LA that has a separate brokerage when we do some deals together. And we're just talking about, like, real buyers right now, like the prices are going, I guess, a little bit down to mid. And then I talked to kind of newbies in the space, like, oh, the prices are so high and it seems like everything's going up. And it's like, yeah, that's because there's less and less actual real supply on the public spaces, and fewer brokers that want to deal with those people. And so if you're dealing with these if you want to do really great deals, you want to do especially offline. The online deals are still pretty well listed. Now, what a lot of those folks are doing to deal with all the deal fakers, like you look at, I love actually what Empire's done, where they have responded to this in an opposite way, which works for internet businesses. So what they've said is like, hey, come on in, whoever you are, but guess what? You're going to have to connect your bank account, and you're not even going to be able to see the deal until we see that you have this amount of money in your bank account to do the deal. This is in a response to all of these crazy deal fakers that are coming to the market. And it's a great response. It's like, hey, you're not even going to see the information, let alone talk to our client. Like, you're not going to see the information about this business unless you connect a bank account and we can see that you have enough money. So you get to see when we get to see. So these are important dynamics, and I'd like to come. This is the real stuff, guys. Like, people, this is stuff that happens behind the scenes of, like, you may see on the front end, like, hey, it seems like this is what's happening on business myself. Why is this happening over here? So I want to give you from a high, almost like macro level, or a kind of just a bird's eye view of the market, of what's going on while you're kind of down in the dirt, like as Gary Vee says, kind of from the clouds and the dirt. When you're down in the dirt, you are kind of in the mud trying to figure out deals. And so I can tell you, like, here's why this is happening. So, and yeah, I definitely agree. Jay says, I like Empire's response to the bull job. Exactly. It's a really great response. So that's one part of what's going on. Now, the other part, and this is great. Adrian popped in. Adrian says, greetings from Panama. I appreciate that. Happy Easter to you as well. um, so let's talk about doing business overseas. So this ties in because your ability to build relationships and do deals, I really think that there's kind of this opposite thing that's happening overseas. And it's just in Lima and working on a deal there, and it's really exciting. And then I think, as a lot of I was speaking at an event in Colombia, and we just had man, the number of like big business. I think we had one guy who had a $20 million business, had another guy who has a almost like a EO or a YPO, just all of these groups, but he has 1,500 businesses in his organization. And the thing that I love to go and speak and build these relationships, because most of these people are not selling their businesses. Business brokerage as a concept even doesn't, let alone the businesses. It's almost like, as a concept, it just doesn't exist. And so, for me, I guess a little bit of it is just ego boost, because I come down, I introduce this concept. It's like, what? This is crazy. This is great. And that part is beautiful, but also being able to just have people where, even if it's deals that I'm not involved in, be able to do deals together where, as I'm talking about that 1,500 group of folks, he introduces it to his people, and then I get to work with him to get two members that are in that group to do deals together. Because the more people that are doing deals, the better. But the really cool thing about the overseas deals is that a lot of them are happening at a one multiple. So we talk about 2, 3, because typically they're closing the business anyway. They just retire and it's time to close the business. And so I'm looking right now at a deal that is basically Little Caesars franchise in Peru, which is a group of them. And in that deal, it's so interesting because I look at the numbers for a Little Caesars in the U.S., and you don't get the excitement. You don't get this, like, it's almost like you can do franchise deals. It's obviously the right deal and the right fit with the right demand and right location. But you get to do these deals overseas. And we were trying to sell a crumble cookies. And so we were going into the numbers on that deal. Um, I won't say which location, but it's funny. The franchise base was just like, this guy was killing it, and the franchise was just like, nah, you can't sell. That's one of the things to know about a franchise. You got to get those deals set up front. So, but one of the things, it's like, on a per unit basis, it's one of the highest net margin businesses and highest ROI franchises out there. There's one other that I won't talk publicly about that I am very excited about. But with this deal with the Little Caesars, it's almost doing those kinds of numbers, like, which is really amazing. But it's because of the demand with that culture match with the Little Caesars and how they've done the marketing and all of that. And so you can get a better opportunity, get a lower cost opportunity and higher margin, higher ROI, just all of that. And then there's just all of these neat things because SBA doesn't exist over there. It's just expected, like, hey, we're going to have to work out payments and all of those things. So I wanted to talk a little bit about doing doing deals overseas, because that one of the new members in the Patreon was asking about, like, how do we get started there? And so I may do a training. I know we got the second part of the merger consulting training coming up, and just for you other folks, that training was basically, helping a business grow through merger acquisitions and taking a piece of the deals. So let's talk about doing deals overseas. One of the kind of first things when you want to get started, before you even start exploring opportunities overseas, I think the most important thing is to have a clear understanding of what you're looking to achieve. It's not just a matter of like, oh, I'm just going out and I'm looking for opportunities. Are you looking to invest in a specific industry? Is it more about a specific region? And then the other side is, what are you bringing to the table that's unique, that's going to add value to whatever deal that you do, so that you can filter deals based on the fact of whether you can build value or create value or not. Now, the next part of this is, are you interested in expanding in a business that is in the US overseas? And so those kinds of opportunities exist where you don't have to even necessarily be that you're building a relationship in a location because you want to buy the deal there. It could be that you're figuring out what that area needs, coming back to the US, buying a business based on that, and then expanding. I think that's one of the opportunities that a lot of people miss. So that's step one. Next step is researching the potential markets. So, you've got a clear idea of like what you're looking for, what your strategy is going to be, what you're going to bring to the table. And then you want to consider the factors of that local environment. What one of the biggest things is safe. That's numero uno. I've visited some places. I love Brazil. Brazil is just a little too sketchy for me to ever do business in. Now, I've done deals in Medellin. I know other people that feel like it's too sketchy. And I know people that have been robbed and just had very bad, not good things happen. I've also gone to Algeria to do business and have my passport canceled after that trip for a little while, and then just had to go through a whole process. That would be a story to tell at some point. But it was dangerous to the point where we had Secret Service with us, and we're trying to do this deal with the government over there. And that for me was like, okay, like that's a highest level. Like I was almost like, okay, I kind of got pulled into this deal without knowing how dangerous it was. Brazil would be like, if I had like a 5 level, I would never even consider, it's like, all I was like, if I can just get out of here alive, I will, not be back here again. Brazil, love to travel there. It's beautiful. Would never do business there. Colombia, I understand the dangers. There's a lot of opportunity. Great to do business. Where I'm doing a deal now is even safer. Lima. And now, like, it's interesting because places can change. I mean, Mexico's getting sketchy. I've never done deals. I've got really great business relationships there. Supposed to be there later maybe next month. But maybe later this month, we'll see. But where I'm looking at doing the deal right now in Lima, it's like just very, very safe. And so you've got to also look at like almost like the graph, because like Mexico's getting a little sketchy. They just so you kind of just to give you a picture. I know it's like some people are hearing about like, oh, well, they shot 4 people in Cancun and that kind of thing. The reason that's a really big deal, it's a bigger deal than the 4 people, is that it was basically the cartels that said, hey, nothing happens in this area. And so, like they protected. It was like, hey, like we're not going to let anything happen to tourists. And so now it's been a few times that things are happening. Like one tourist was shot, just have 4 more 5 days ago shot. And so, yeah, that in towards that, like things are changing. So you got to wonder, like, okay, you really don't know what's going on with cartel politics. You know what I mean? But it's once you see things changing, you probably want to step back and not do anything there. Now, so you got to understand that. You got to understand economic growth, the cultural compatibility to whatever you're trying to do there, just political stability and all of those normal things. And then, either the currency opportunity or the currency risk. So in some cases, there are opportunities with the currency. In other cases, it's going to be a risk. And then the next part is building a network. So everywhere I go, I'm trying to build a network. It's one of the reasons, like, hey, if I can speak in another country, especially to a group of locals, um, I don't care about the money. I want to build those relationships because I'm not trying to make money off of info stuff. I want to make money off of doing deals. And so, building that network is very valuable. And anybody who's in deal making should definitely get that. But if you don't have the opportunity to speak and get invited for things like that, just attending trade shows, even if you can't speak the language, like people will welcome you in a lot of these countries. Conferences, you can hire somebody who speaks the language just to translate and that kind of thing, to go around and build those relationships. And then events, potential partners, meeting, investors, potential customers, just getting as much information as possible. And then even before you get there, you can connect with people on LinkedIn, use social media platforms and connect with local professionals that way. And then obviously with all of this, you're connecting with legal professionals and financial professionals, and having all of that stuff there and then having it checked by people in your own country is very valuable. All right, so let's get into a few questions and we'll bounce out of here. Hope everyone's had a great Easter weekend. Yeah, be sure to like. Be sure to like. Thanks for that reminder. Tamika, what is up? Hope things went well. I know you were reaching out to Wiz to get something done. I never found out what you're going to work with them on, but hopefully that worked out. That's our animation company. Matthew says it's the new real estate gurus. Yep, it's a bunch of them. And, I love it because I think it does bring more attention to the space. And so far, it's not really affecting the deals or number of deals getting closed. But it's driving the brokers into the hands of people like me, which is a beautiful thing. So the more that they're annoying the brokers, the more that they want to, and like you, because you're learning this stuff and actually doing it. So they're just driving all the deals into the hands of folks like the people in our acquisition holding program. So that's the good news, and what makes it a little bit different from even real estate. Janine, what is up? I am headed to Yo City and excited to see the fam. And I'm headed through ATL. Chap, what's up, homie? Says, any more insight into your sentiments on Brazil? Any upside potential in near future, in your opinion? So again, I mean, the most important two words there are my sentiment and my opinion. So, there are plenty of people, like I got a homeboy that does Airbnbs there. There's a lot of opportunity in all of these places. The opportunity that we were trying to work, I mean, we got to meet with basically Algeria's version of the head of their central bank. So it's like, their central bank head. And so like there was a lot of money on the table. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna have to miss out on that money. So I think each person has to decide, and it really is more of like your opinion. It's hard to, the more time you spend there, the more time you talk to locals and understand the dangers. It's really a matter of researching and seeing if you can get comfortable. I mean, and it's just important to have a high level view of the reality. So, I would be concerned about a business in, for instance, Cancun, because of a general sentiment, not because of actually, I mean, quite honestly, being afraid of being shot. There's like I think so far this year, around 1.5 million, um, maybe even a bit more. I feel like the number that I've heard is 1.5 million tourists just from the US, just in Cancun. And so, I guess total five, which, it sucks. That's a terrible thing that are just in Cancun have been shot. But those statistics aren't like, oh, like I'm afraid to go there because I'm going to get shot. I'm talking specific, Brazil. Like I was in Brazil recently, love Brazil. But I wouldn't do business there, which limits the amount of time I'm going to spend there because I like to go places where I can also do business. Like I just enjoy being able to do that. So I'm not talking it's more of a business decision. And so, my concern becomes not, oh, if I go there to check on my business, am I gonna get shot? It becomes, oh, well, will I be counting on numbers that are like 1.5 million per quarter and it turns into 1 million because there are five deaths a quarter. So that's the calculation I'm coming from, just to be clear there. We'll take one more and we'll get out of here. Brazil's popular. Got another question on Brazil. Brazil is part of BRICS compact as well. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Absolutely. So that ties into a whole other group of things. I got to do a video on that soon because it's opportunities. Like I don't look at everything that happens is just, oh, here's the opportunities. I think I did a post on this, just saying like every recession creates millionaires. So it's just a matter of figuring out where, as I always tell y'all, it's following the currency. And we just want to be a riverbank collecting the currency. Gotta catch up on your leaps. Okay, good deal. Yeah, I just did that post in Patreon as well, so you're on top of it. Darius, we'll end with this. Would love to hear about the due diligence process that you use when evaluating the business owner's pre-purchase, and do you continue a relationship with them after the sale of the business? Well, I will answer that second part because the first part is too long. I only do deals where I'm going to continue the relationship with the seller, not only as just, hey, we're cordial, but also as a financial part of the deal, as a requirement of the deal. So that is very important. I would encourage you, if you want more on due diligence, least expensive way to get up to speed more on that is the Patreon, which is a great point to end on. Make sure y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Hey, while we're out there, be deal makers. Don't be deal fakers. The deal fakers are losing out here right now. Have a great rest of y'all's weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.